Hello everyone from YouTube, it's Rachel the Student Witch. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm here to share with you guys the setup that I have ready for my 2018 bullet journal. So come plan with me if you're into that sort of thing. Before I zoom in the camera and we get more focused on what I have set up in here so far, let's just go over materials. So I got into bullet journaling a little over a year ago, and for me, I kind of have a twofold view of it. It has a very utilitarian aspect to it. It's very helpful for me to help keep track of all the stuff that I have to do every day. I'm a busy PhD student, and last year I was juggling between 3 and 4 different part-time jobs as I was also teaching, and it was just crazy. So I really needed a system that I could cater to my own needs that would be helpful for me to help keep track of everything. So it has that utilitarian aspect, but it also has a creative aspect. It's a great creative outlet. And now I'm going to warn you right here at the beginning, I am not a visually artistic person. My grandmother and my sister are amazing painters. My grandmother was self-taught. She then taught my sister. My sister is self-taught. She's been commissioned to do some really cool paintings and stuff. I did not get that from my grandma. My grandma taught me how to cook. So I might be a terrible drawer. But I am a bomb-ass cook. So, all that being said, or all that is to say, you don't need to be super artsy-fartsy or super crafty to keep a bullet journal. Because keep in mind, this is just for you. This is for your eyes only, right? I mean, I'm choosing to share parts of mine with you today, but you can scribble things out, you can tear pages out, you can mess up. It's okay to mess up, and it's okay if you don't draw like Leonardo da Vinci, okay? Because as you're gonna see here in a few minutes, I cannot draw. I can draw well enough to where you can tell what the object that I've drawn is supposed to be, but that's about it. But hey, that's all I need. And if it's a creative outlet for me, if it kind of gives me something to do, to doodle around between work and studying and stuff, and that's fine. That's all I need it to be. So that being said, let's talk about materials. So this is my bullet journal from last year. It is a Moleskine brand, and I prefer to use the graph paper. I don't know if this is going to translate well or if you're going to be able to see, but it's the graph paper, and I got a black one last year. I shopped around this year kind of just to see what my options are, but I went ahead and got just the very same journal, just in the color red for this year. As far as my main writing utensils, I can't drop a lot of money on things like pens and washi tape and all that. I just don't have the finances for that. If you do, that's awesome. But I always try to go the cheap route. So my main writing pen, when I'm writing down my tasks and all sorts of stuff and setting up my weekly spreads and all that, I just use this Sharpie pen. In general, it does not bleed through the Moleskine paper. It works really well. It lasts a long time. I have 2 or 3 of these. Just lying around the house or in my purse or in my pen and pencils bag. I got this pencil carrier bag at Walmart last year at the beginning of the school year, which in the United States is around usually mid to late July to early August. You'll start to see all the school supplies hit the store shelves. So I got this for like $5 or $6 at Walmart, and I keep my pens in there. You can see another Sharpie pen here. And my highlighters in here. I also have this really cute pen bag that a friend gave to me. And I just want to make a clarification here. This is the ultra fine point Sharpie permanent marker. it is different from the Sharpie pen. The permanent marker will bleed through your paper. The pen will not, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, go ahead and invest a couple bucks in a cute pen bag if you want. It's alright to splurge a little bit if you got some extra coin to drop on this, because it just makes it fun and makes it unique and special and catered to you. Other supplies, just simple paper clips. I have 3 paper clips in mine right now, just to mark important pages in different sections that I will go back to. And things to color and draw with. These are just some colored pencils, some good old Crayola. Someone gave this to me. I've never heard of this Prang brand, but I like having these 2 boxes because there are certain colors in this box that aren't in this box and vice versa. There's just a set of 24 colored pencils. You can use crayons, you can use Crayola markers, you do whatever you want. And recently, in January, at an art supply store near my sister's house down in New Orleans, they had these fine line pens on sale. I know there is a certain brand of pen, I think it's Staedtler, is that the brand? Staedtler is a really great brand of colored pens and art pens and stuff, but it can be pretty expensive. So I actually got this, and it's from Art Alternatives, which is a brand I've never heard of, but again, I'm fairly new to this planning world. I got this on sale for like $12 or $13. So I got 24 colors for about 12 bucks, and it's 0.4 millimeters wide, super fine pen. Water-based ink. See if I can get this close enough for you to see. Maybe if I do this, there we go. Super fine. In general, it doesn't bleed through the page that badly. If I use it to kind of color something in, it will bleed through, but I'm okay with that. So yeah, so be on the lookout at art supply stores, especially with they might have some leftover inventory from last year that they might be trying to sell off and that kind of stuff, since it's still January. You might be able to have or find a good deal for some pens. So yeah, that's all I use for my bullet journal. And now let me rearrange the camera, zoom in, and let's dive in. Okay. So I rearranged things. I am awkwardly sitting on the couch with this set up, and things are kind of bass-ackwards and upside down for me. So if I goof up, have patience with me, but here we go. The beginning of my bullet journal. I have my 2018 word of the year, nourish. I nourish my mind, my body, my soul, and my relationships. That is what I'm going to be focusing on. Feeding, nourishment, nurture, self-care, self-love, all that kind of fun stuff. Then I have my key here, just your basic kind of bullet journal key with the dots and the crossed out dots and the migrated stuff. But I also have a few of these blocks here. That comes from the 12-week year method, which I'll get into later. And then the index starts. So I know in the official bullet journal format, at the beginning of your bullet journal, right after the index, is usually the, what's it called? The future log. Well, in my bullet journal for last year, I made a future log and I never went back to it. I never used it, I never referred to it, nothing. So I have learned that it just doesn't work for me. And that's kind of the beauty of the bullet journal method, or any planning method that you create for yourself and you're able to to cater for yourself. You really can, just through trial and error, make it work for you. So I did not make a future log, but what I did do was, at the first few about 15 or 16 pages after the index, I created a space where I can elaborate on my goals for 2018. And I have the goals in different categories. I have an overview of my goals, and then I have a tracker for each one of my goals, because that's another thing I learned through trial and error last year with my first bullet journal, was that daily and weekly trackers don't work for me. I don't keep up with them. It's a waste of time. So instead, if I focus on monthly goals and track things related to those goals, I'm hoping it'll be more productive use of my time and that I'll actually be able to keep up with it. So yes. Another thing that I've done is kind of standardize my monthly system, I guess. Is each month I have the month at a glance page, which I'll show you here in a bit. Then I have a gratitude page, and then I have an extra blank page that I can use to cater to each month's needs. For example, for the month of January, since I'm moving from Massachusetts to Georgia, I have that extra page as a to-do kind of checklist for moving, like scheduling the U-Haul, contacting the landlord, turning off the internet for the apartment, and all that kind of stuff. So each month that blank page can be catered to that month. So at a glance, gratitude, extra page. Oh, and then I have a page for that month's tarot card reading, just a simple 3 or 4 card reading for that month. And then all the pages after that are weekly spreads. Not tarot spreads, but weekly planning spreads, which I'll show you here in a bit. So that is how each month from January all the way to December is organized here. And then at the end of the book, I have all sorts of fun stuff to go through. But let's check out my 2018 goals. So these are the goals. This is the overview page for my 2018 goals. Immediately after my index, I have academic goals, financial goals, mental and emotional health goals, relationships goals, physical and fertility or reproductive health goals, and then spirituality goals. So we start with the academic goals. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with the blank space down here. There are some pages where I do have blank space. I'll figure that out. I have a whole year. I'll be fine. But I have my 4 main academic goals and a space to write down little notes or to write down the date when I take action towards completing those goals, right? So I just turned in a fellowship application here that goes under apply for funding goal. So that's done. The first fellowship application is done. Now I can apply for other ones. Hopefully in April I will finish my generals exams, so I'll be writing stuff in here, and so on and so forth. The next page is dedicated to my financial goals, and this is to track my and my husband's credit card debt. There is a very big possibility that we will be moving to Chile, to South America, later this year. And before we move to Chile, we'd like to pay off the credit cards. And so I kind of want to track both his and mine. So we have the months here, and then the amounts. We really want to pay those off because going from US dollars to Chilean pesos is great, because $1 US is like usually it's between 600 and 700 Chilean pesos, but that doesn't mean that, you know, something that costs $2 here in the United States is just 2 Chilean pesos. Like, the deal isn't that good, believe me. Their money system is just different. Like, they measure things in hundreds and thousands, right? Like 1,000 Chilean pesos sounds like a lot of money, but it's actually not that much money, if that makes sense. So going from dollars to pesos is, in your benefit. But going from pesos to dollars, like trying to pay off these credit cards in pesos to dollars would not be fun. So I have the chart here for both his and my credit card debt, and then I have just a place to take note where some big expenses might be coming up, and then just a little doodle here. Here you see an example of my exquisite artistic talent. It's just a little mountain with two little stick figures climbing the mountain, and one says, "We can do it." Like, that's it. Just cute little doodling, just for my eyes only. But now I'm putting it up on the internet for the world to see. But anyway, then we have the fertility health tracker. The first chart at the top is to track the amount and quality of my menstrual blood. That might sound kind of weird, but I've noticed since I've started focusing more on my fertility health through using and implementing the fertility awareness method, that the amount of blood that I produce each cycle has kind of varied. It started off at like barely 25 milliliters, and now I'm close to 40 milliliters. So I'm curious. So I have the amount in milliliters here, and I'm able to measure that because of the Diva cup that I use, which includes 7.5 and a 15 milliliter line inside. So I kind of estimate how much I bleed in milliliters, but I have the cycle number here and then the amount here, and I can use the colored pencils and stuff to kind of color in the different colors that the blood comes into, because those of us who menstruate, it's not just red the whole time, right? So the bottom tracker is to track basically my PMS symptoms, my luteal phase tracker. So crying, anger, sadness, sore titties, bloating, acne, headaches. So yeah, I can just track that. Then I have my physical health tracker to get my body moving, because this is kind of embarrassing, but since starting grad school, and between my master's degree and the PhD, I've been in grad school since August 2011. I have not been able to maintain a regular workout routine. And this is ridiculous, it's 7 years. So for 7 years, it's been sporadic or just non-existent. So I'm beginning to feel it in my body. I've been experiencing some mild lower back pain recently, and my hips feel achy sometimes. Like, I can tell I have not moved my body as much as it needs. I'm beginning to feel it. So I really want to jump on that and kind of repair any damage that might have happened through years of sitting and reading at a computer for hours and hours, and just kind of like practice some preventative self-love medicine by getting my body moving. So I have yoga, walking, and going to the gym. Since I'm moving back in with my husband and he is working at the university down here, he can actually get me access to the university's gym for $15 a month. And the university's gym is huge. It's a world-class gym, has like a rock climbing wall, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, and all sorts of crazy stuff. But the problem is it's always swarming with undergraduate students unless you go super early in the morning, which I prefer to work out in the morning. So I think he and I, we're going to try to get our butts out of bed and go to the gym twice a week together once the craziness of the move is over and things have settled down back here in Georgia. But anyway, I just have the calendar for the whole year, and then I just write down the symbol over the day when I do any of one of these three things, so I can keep track of that. Then I have this mental and emotional health tracker. I have a slice of this pie dedicated to each month of the year, and then I have this kind of color code thing going on. So yellow is just kind of like a normal month, like let's say the month of January. I color in just the yellow part here. That means I just experience mild anxiety. I easily manage the stress, and there's little to no depressive symptoms. Orange would be the second level here, right? So yellow is here, orange is here. Orange would be moderate anxiety, dealing with important life events, some mild to moderate depressive symptoms. And then red would be the outer circle here, is major anxiety and stress, trouble coping with life events, panic attacks, and full-blown depression. So that is a way for me to see the year as a whole, and then each month to track that. And I have, if you see here, the bottom, C notes on pages 184 to 189. I have in the back of the bullet journal, I have a space dedicated to writing notes for any sort of mental, emotional health issues. So yeah, that is going to be super helpful. And then I have my relationships tracker. This is my version of a mason jar and little pieces of candy. And each of the pieces of candy have a different color and shape. And the idea is anytime I call my sister or call my best friend Wanda or show my parents some love and appreciation or show my husband some love and appreciation, I write down the date and I color it in for that specific color. I tend to, because of my anxiety and stress and stuff, I tend to kind of shut down relationships or start neglecting the relationships that are important to me. When things just get too hectic or too stressful, and I kind of want to keep track of that because I know I have that tendency, and I want to reach out more to the people I care about the most, and that's these people right here, right? So yeah, that's to help me keep track of that. It's also great for accountability because I want to fill up the jar by the end of the year. That's the idea. Because I don't want the people I care about to think that I'm neglecting them simply because I feel too stressed out and overwhelmed to call them regularly or call them enough. Or it seems like they're always the ones reaching out and calling to me, and I don't take the time to reciprocate. That's kind of that's a thing I need to work on. So that is the tracker for relationships. And then I have a tracker for my YouTube channel for the number of subscribers. My channel recently has nearly doubled in the amount of subscribers, and I have Molly at Her Speak, that channel, to thank for that. So Molly, if you're watching, thank you so much. She gave me a huge shout out, or she gave my channel a huge shout out towards the end of November or early December last year. And at the time I had just around maybe 460 or 470 subscribers. Now I have over 800, and that's blowing my mind because when I made this chart, it was before the shout out happened, and I peaked or maxed the chart out at 1,000 subscribers here, and now I have a feeling I'm going to have to go back into the back of the bullet journal and redraw this chart because I'm already at 800 and it's only January. So Molly, thank you so much, and thanks to all the new subscribers out there. It's blowing my mind that so many people are interested in my channel and what I have to say. But anyway, so this is my bookshelf for this year, and I just have it in 4 kind of general, broad, somewhat overlapping categories. Curiosity, self-study. Instead of self-help, I like the idea of self-study. You know thyself, right? Spirituality, and pleasure reading. So I hope to fill that bookshelf up. And then I did a tarot card reading for each one of my goal categories: academic, financial, mental, emotional health, relationships, physical and fertility health, and then spirituality. The reading was intense and juicy and really helpful, so I'm really glad I did that. I know a lot of people out there in our community do yearly, the year ahead kind of tarot spreads, and we tend to think of those year ahead tarot spreads in terms of like the wheel of the year or months or something like that, but I found it really interesting to think of it in terms of the goals we want to accomplish, and really helpful. It kind of gets straight to the point kind of thing. So might be something to think about. Like, think about your major goals for the next year, put them into categories, and then draw a card for each one of the categories and see what comes up. It's been really helpful for me. All right, now we are in January. My January, or my month at a glance page for each month, is very simple. I just have blank month. In this case, it's January at a glance. Then I have the day of the week and the date. And I just write down major events. I write down the moon's phases so I can keep track of that. And then again, the gratitude page is very similar and very simple. Just the date, and I give myself one line to write down at least one thing that I'm grateful for, and I have that covered up for privacy reasons. And then this is the extra page that I talked about for each month. So for January, it's focused on, or it includes a to-do list for my move back to Georgia, and then the tarot card reading for each month, focused on what's going on, a little heads up information for what I got going on for that month. So let me skip ahead to my weekly spread. So this is the last few days of January into the first few days of February. So this is the last full week for the January slot. And this is, I think, what I've developed and what I like so far. I've experimented with different things, different layouts, and this is a very simple layout, very clear, clean-cut layout that works for me. The main box here on this side is dedicated to my 12-week year. I can't remember the author of the 12-week year, but if you just Google it or put into YouTube 12-week year and look it up, it's a book. It's written by a couple of guys in the world of business, so it's very business oriented, but it's a really thin, quick read kind of a book. I got it for like 12 bucks on Amazon, and it's basically, the idea is it's about time management. And so you break down the year, the calendar year, January to December, into 12-week chunks, and you think of those chunks as one year by itself. And you write down the main goals, 2 or 3, that you want to take care of within that 12-week chunk. And if you break down the entire year into 12-week chunks, and each of those chunks you take care of 2 or 3 goals, by the end of the year you've taken care of 10 to 12 goals, major projects. So since I'm going to be, I'm in the middle of studying for my last PhD exam, and then I'm going to be preparing my prospectus, and then I'm going to be beginning my dissertation. The 12-week year system, I think, is the right system for me to get as much shit done as possible this year. So that's why I use it. But anyway, so each week is going to have a box for the tasks, the weekly tasks that I have to get done to get my shit done for that 12-week year. Alright, so this will be week 1 of the second 12-week year that I'll be doing. And then I just have the days of the week, a to-do list. I have a little cloud here, which you might not see because it's in light kind of turquoise color. This is just a little thought bubble. Maybe my word of the week, a word of empowerment, a quote, a tarot card that's pertinent to that week and what I got going on. And then this box down here, I don't really know what I'm gonna do with it yet. This might be a space for oracle card, like daily draws for oracle cards, or I don't really know yet. But that's the weekly spread that I like so far. And then February starts. We have February at a glance, February gratitude. The extra page for February is going to be dedicated to writing down my goals for my 12-week year. The February tarot card reading, and then the weeks for February, which I just have the dates written down. And I went through the entire book and did this for the entire year until I reached the end, where after the last week in December, here I have Monday the 24th through Monday the 31st of December. And then I have a space for 2018 wrap up, and obviously 2018 is just beginning, so I don't really have an idea of what I'm going to do with this. Probably some doodling and writing down important memories and that kind of stuff. And then I have looking ahead to 2019. Again, I'm going to have to wait till November and December to start getting this planned out and brainstorming for the year ahead. But then I have the fun stuff. So these are our master grocery lists. We like to shop between Aldi, Trader Joe's, and Kroger. Aldi has really cheap produce, and they've recently started introducing organic products, not just produce, but other more health foody products. I fucking love Aldi. I worked as a cashier at Aldi before going to grad school. It's a really great company, treats its workers well, isn't afraid to hire people full-time and offer them health insurance benefits, which some of the other big stores don't do. Eco-friendly company. It's great. And now that they're offering more health food and healthier organic products, but at a lower cost, like lower income people can now afford to buy organic milk and organic eggs and coconut oil and quinoa and organic carrots and grapes. It's awesome. Power to the people. Fucking right, Aldi. But anyway, Aldi, Trader Joe's, which is owned by the same company or the same people as Aldi. Trader Joe's is just, you know, a different branch of it. And then Kroger. So those are our master grocery lists. And I'm kind of proud of myself for drawing out the different logos in the shopping cart over here. That's the limit of my visual artistic talent, though. And then I have house chores, and as you can see, when I made this, I accidentally wrote 2017. I had to scratch that out for 2018. But these are cleaning chores that don't necessarily have to be done on a weekly basis. These are monthly, quarterly, and then every 6 months kind of thing. And my husband and I, we don't have pets and we don't have kids, so there's certain things that we can kind of like, we don't have to clean as often, like vacuuming out the couch. Like if we had a pet, like a dog or a cat or something, we would have to vacuum it every week or so. But since we don't, we can do that monthly. You know. So I try to keep all of that in mind when I made these cleaning lists. I need to get more stuff done for January, that's for sure. And then we have the ideal work week. And this is just for January through May, because again, we don't really know where we're going to be living after May. There is a possibility that my husband will have to fly to Chile and I'll move in with my parents in Kentucky at the end of May or early June. Or if he gets a job somewhere else, we'll be moving to wherever that job's at. But yeah, things are kind of crazy, so I just have an ideal work week for January through May, and then the page down here will be for June through whatever. We'll see what life has in store. But I have gym days, I have the days my husband teaches, I have time built in for emails, I have 4-hour chunks of time for Monday through Friday for reading and preparing for my exams. And then I have date night and movie night for Friday and Saturday nights, so that's exciting. And it's an ideal work week. You know, it's always good to plan out your weeks and have a general schedule, but life happens, and if I don't follow everything exactly, that's fine. It's an ideal. It's a goal. It's not what I have to do, right? And part of the 12-week year system is self-evaluation, and very honest self-evaluation, to kind of keep you accountable for getting your shit done. So the 12-week year report cards are going to go on these 2 pages. Then I have birthday gift ideas, and then Christmas gift ideas, and that is my beautiful artistic Christmas tree. But I have a little Christmas ornament with little space to write down ideas for all the people that we might have to buy a gift for, either here in the US or if we're in Chile, for my husband's family members down there. And then this is my mental health log. So if you remember, for my mental health tracker at the beginning of the book, I had a little note that said something like, refer to pages blah 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 for more details. Well, this is where I'm going to write those details. Right? So I actually have 6 pages dedicated to that. Then I have my YouTube video ideas, and then video log. So I have all the ideas here, and then the videos that I actually make, I'm going to log here just to see how I'm doing with that. Then I have new moon intentions, full moon release and gratitude ritual space, or a place to write down affirmations or whatever comes to my mind for that time. And then I have showing some love. So this space is for writing down or doodling little memories throughout the year of when I show someone love, go out of my way to do something for someone, or when my husband does something for me, just touching moments throughout the year. I think it'll be great to have a space for that. And then I have, let me cover this some more, the sexy time log. So this is 4 pages, pages 198 through 201, to write down and keep track of when my husband and I have sexy time. And the idea behind this is kind of silly, but it's also very actually liberating and helpful for me, because as someone who has been, not to get too serious here, but I've been like sexually assaulted and mistreated in previous relationships before, and so keeping track of the time my husband and I spend together has been very healing. And healing my relationship to my body, my relationship to the sexual act itself, my relationship to him. And so I actually suggest, if you are in your own healing journey when it comes to any sort of abuse, keep a log about it. It's sometimes I get myself worked up and I kind of get lost in the pain and the anger, that I forget the good times that my husband and I have had and are having. So having it written down and being able to go back and refer to that has been incredibly empowering and healing. So food for thought. So this is our sexy time log. And then we have a date night log as well. And then some 2018 synchronicities, some witchy synchronicities. And knitting projects for 2018. I'm in the middle of an epic scarf, and basically I just bought the yarn on sale. I know the very basics when it comes to knitting. I'm not a knitting master by any means. So I'm just using this epic scarf as an excuse to practice different patterns. So I started off with one pattern, and now I'm working my way through a waffle pattern, and then after a while I'll switch over to another pattern. So it'll be an epic scarf made of all sorts of different confusing patterns, but it'll be mine and I will love it. So, and then on this page I'll put together a different knitting project. I don't know what yet. And then this is the last page that I have set up so far, and I actually made this today. This is kind of a brainstorming space for me to try to be a little bit more conscious of my carbon footprint and to be a little bit less wasteful, because I live in the first world. I live in a first world industrialized country, and those of us living in the first world in these industrialized countries use so many more resources than people living in other parts of the world. We can be very wasteful with our standard of living. And so I kind of wanted to chip away at that in whichever small way that I can, and in whichever small way that my husband and I can afford. So, and the benefit too, especially with being more conscious about your use of energy resources like your electricity and stuff, is you cut down, you produce less waste, you're reducing your carbon footprint, but at the same time you're reducing your electric bill. So something as simple as, like, when you run the dishwasher, don't use the dry heat setting. Just dry your dishes yourself. Or in the wintertime, just keep your thermostat at 68. You know, you might be a little chilly in the house, but just bundle up and keep yourself active and moving in the house, and you won't get cold. Or for me, my guilty pleasure when it comes to my water use is long hot showers, especially in the winter time. I can be in there for 15 or 20 minutes, and that I don't think is a good thing. I really want to practice just reducing it to 10 minutes. And for some people, 10 minutes is going to sound like that's such a long shower, but for me, that's actually cutting it back. So today actually I took my phone into the shower with me, and I set the timer on for 10 minutes as soon as I turned the water on, and I was actually in and out before the timer went off, and I was actually proud of myself for that. So I want to try to do that, to cut back to 10 minutes, and I also want to try showering every other day, because I don't go to the gym every day, I don't do physical labor, I don't work up a sweat. There's no reason for me to bathe and use up all that water every day. And actually in the wintertime it really dries out my skin if I shower too much. So yeah, just simple things like that, just cutting back my usage of limited resources and being more cautious with what I do with my food scraps or old clothes or containers and things like that. I really want to focus on that for this coming year too. So I have everything, I have it organized with the alchemical symbols of the elements here for air pollution, landfills and ecosystems, water pollution and usage, and then energy resources, just to reduce my footprint if possible. And then the next, I don't know, 15 or 20 pages in my book are blank and yet to be filled, but I have a whole year to fill them up. So yeah, that was my bullet journal. If you have any ideas for some like nifty trackers or nifty page spreads and things, like leave those ideas in the comments below. I'm really interested in other people's bullet journals. It's been really fun and a great learning process for me to learn like what works for me and what doesn't. This is my second bullet journal, and I've kind of gotten more comfortable with being more creative and drawing more and using different colors more than I did last year. It's been great kind of getting out of my comfort zone when it comes to being visually creative and artistic, because I'm a little self-cautious about that because I can't draw for shit, but hey, it's fun. It's fun. So yeah, thanks for watching, and until next time, many blessings. Bye!